Okay, let's go.
So what if I told you that the thing you're desperately chasing, the perfect body, the fame, more money, isn't actually what you want? We are going to break down a lesson that honestly takes most people decades to learn, and we're going to do it in the next few minutes. Okay, let's dive right in. Just think about it for a second. We all have one, right? That little voice that says, I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I lose the weight. I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll be happy when I finally find a partner. We've all got that one thing in the future we've pinned all our hopes on. But this leads to a really important question. What if that thing, that goal you're chasing, isn't the real prize at all? What if the feeling you're actually looking for is available right here, right now, and you've just been looking in completely the wrong place? And this gets us to this idea we can call the happy when fallacy. It's like a mental trap, a kind of flawed logic that so many of us, whether we realize it or not, build our entire lives around. It means we live in this state of constantly waiting, We tell ourselves that fulfillment is just over the next hill, locked behind some big achievement. But this way of thinking, it pretty much guarantees one thing. We're never actually happy where we are right now. To really get this, let's look at the story of Maggie McCormick. She spent years chasing these exact kinds of goals, and her experience really shows us just how hollow this whole pursuit can be. Okay, so from the time she was 12, Maggie wanted to be a famous actor. But why? Well, it wasn't really about the craft of acting. As she explains it, it all came from this deep, deep feeling of unworthiness. She truly believed that fame was this magic key that would unlock acceptance and finally make her happy. But we've heard this story from so many people who actually reached that peak. It just doesn't work. It's a classic case of what some psychologists call miswanting. See, they weren't really after fame. They were craving love and validation. And those are things fame can't give you, and ironically, things they could have given themselves all along. And that pattern, it didn't stop there. Even after she found a loving partner, that internal feeling of not being enough just latched onto something new: her weight. This just goes to show how the outside situation can change completely. But if that core feeling of inadequacy is still there, the problem just finds a new home. Now, this realization for Maggie didn't just come from her own life. In a really fascinating turn, her work as a podiatrist for over 20 years, treating elderly patients, gave her this profound and super unique perspective on what it actually means to live a fulfilling life, right up to the very end. She started noticing that her patients were on one of two paths. They were either evolving or devolving. There was no standing still. The evolving ones, they were curious, joyful, and they were always growing. But the devolving ones, they were stunted, fearful, and it felt like their world was just constantly shrinking. And this quote from one of her patients just captures that joyful, forward-looking spirit perfectly, doesn't it? They're not obsessed with their external shell. They're just focused on living with humor and with purpose. Okay, so if chasing all these external goals is a trap, what's the alternative? Well, it all comes down to redefining what the real prize actually is. Psychologists actually have a name for this whole cycle. They call it the hedonic treadmill. You set a goal, you achieve it, you get this little burst of happiness, but then the feeling fades. That satisfaction resets to zero, and you're already looking for the next mountain to climb. It's a never-ending cycle. And here it is. This is the big aha moment. You don't actually want the money or the promotion or the perfect body. What you want is the feeling you believe those things are going to give you. These are the true prizes. We are all, every one of us, searching for these core emotional states. To feel worthy, to feel loved, accepted, and safe. We've just mistakenly believed that some external achievement is the only way to get there. See, true fulfillment isn't found waiting for you at the top of the mountain. It's found in the climb itself, in the struggles, the small wins, the growth. That's the hero's journey, right? Life isn't a destination. It's the whole process of becoming. So, if the feelings are what we're really after, and they aren't actually tied to external goals, what does that mean for us, right here, right now? It means the power is entirely in our hands. Maybe you've been telling yourself you'll feel worthy when you get that promotion or hit that goal weight. But what if you just stopped waiting? You can grant yourself that feeling of worthiness right now. Not because you earned it, but simply as a choice. Because you exist, full stop. You think you need a certain number in your bank account to finally feel secure. You can choose to trust yourself. You can choose to believe in your own resilience. You can generate that feeling of safety from the inside out right this second. And this is what true freedom really looks like. It's when you no longer need anything outside of yourself to feel whole. It's when other people's opinions or your bank account or the number on the scale, they just no longer have power over how you feel inside. So I guess the ultimate takeaway here is this. The point isn't to arrive somewhere. The point is the evolution itself. The real purpose of life is to just keep growing and learning and expanding right until the very end. So let's end with this question. What feeling have you been putting off until someday? And what would change? What would everything change if you just decided to give that feeling to yourself right now?